Welcome to the Arsenal show. And it's a transfer special, a deadline day transfer special, actually. And we've got a couple of familiar faces in the house. There's Steve, the chief scout, K.
How you doing? Yep. How you doing, everybody? Looking forward to tonight. Taking a break from today's transfers dealings, but while we're on the show, I'll be still on it, and I'll relay the transfer news back to you as soon as I get it. So don't worry. Right, but you'll have my full attention, Arsenal fans. You have my full attention.
Thank you very much, Steve. I can see 63 people currently watching, so please smash that like. Please smash that subscribe. We've got plenty of transfer news coming, a few exclusives as well. Hit the retweet, yeah? I know one of you hit the retweet. I know one of you just hit the retweet because we just nearly doubled. I love it. Keep it going. All right? And we're joined by another then. The person I'm most happiest to see. It is Jerome Marx. How you doing, Jerome? It's good to have you back.
Yeah, cheers. Nice to be back. I wish it was maybe in happier circumstances, perhaps. But we'll have a bit of fun. We'll have a bit of fun.
We will. We'll try. We'll try and smile. Otherwise, we'll just end up crying because as Arsenal fans, it's one of two. There's no middle ground anymore. All right. We've got plenty to speak about. Most importantly, Edu and Arteta. There's a lot of noises with regards to people not happy with what Edu and Arteta have done. We want to sort of dig a bit deeper to see where that's actually come from, whether it's Edu, whether it's Arteta, whether it's both. You tell me. And we want to hear what your ratings are with regards to these two. If you was to rate out of 10 the transfer window that Arsenal have had so far, mind you, there's still 4 hours to go. Yeah? Give us your ratings. Let us know what you think out of 10. If I see ones, I'm gonna lose it. Because it's definitely not a one. I go onto Twitter, yeah, I see ones. There's no way Arsenal have had a one transfer window. The year we bought only Petr Cech, yeah, that was a one transfer window. Arsenal bought two players, yeah, two outfield players. What did Arsenal do? They bought a goalkeeper and they left it as that. So don't tell me this is a one. That was a one. And that's nothing against Petr Cech because I like Petr Cech, yeah, and we probably deep down need him. However, that wasn't the signing we needed and we only got in one transfer. Yeah, so don't tell me this is a one transfer window. All right. Thank you very much, people. Stop looking at memes and getting drawn in because you can't back your own team against these donuts in the comment section. All right. Yeah, I'm going all guns blazing tonight. No pun intended. All right. Take a breather, Kieron. Who we got in the comment section so far? Jamie Clinton, 6 out of 10. See, I can deal with that, Jamie. I can deal with that. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. But what I am saying is there's no way this transfer window was a one. All right? So, Jamie, let everyone hear what you got to say. If we could get rid of more Deadwood, it would have been better. Well, like I said, Jamie, yeah, there's 4 hours, well, 3.5 hours left. As long as the faxes aren't sort of jammed up with people on dial-up, like holding up the phone lines, then those 1996 fax machines that people still use are going to be useful. Yeah, you'd think they'd use an email or a courier pigeon; it'd be quicker. However, they're still using fax machines. Yeah, so Jamie, you put a 10 there. Deadwood. So as I was saying, Jamie, there still could be players going out. All right, like Reece Nelson, he's gone. He's on loan to Feyenoord. Eddie Nketiah, that deal fell through with regards to Crystal Palace, but you never know. There was plenty of clubs in for Eddie Nketiah, so anything could still happen. We've got the man with his finger on the pulse that would know, so he's here. All right. So I've also got my phone open just in case I get some text messages. All right, people. So don't worry. We got you. We got you. All right. You ain't gonna miss anything while you're watching this show. All right. I can take a breather now. Steve, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, really, really good. As I say, it's been a very long day, but a fantastic day. Some massive signings, isn't there? Some, sadly not to our club, but some big names gone to some big clubs, and it's it's been good from that side of it.
All right. So I've just seen it. I've just leveled up. Look, Ryan, don't do this to me, yeah? I just said I don't want to see any ones, yeah? So what do? You give them a 1. I don't know whether you're listening and you're trolling me. I feel like you are. Yeah? We're not going to do this live on air. I hit you up in the WhatsApp afterwards. I said no ones, and you gave me a 1. So this episode is going to be about Mikel Arteta and Edu Gaspar, yeah? And Arsenal's transfer dealings, of course. So, first and foremost, Steve, if you was to give this transfer window a rating out of 10, what would you give it?
Well, I can see in the comments there you've already put up Jamie's giving us a 6, and we've got Will there as well. He's waxing his mark, so thanks for that, Will. Look, as far as this, I mean, how do we look at it? There's a few ways. We all know we've spent a lot of money. But have we spent enough? Have we spent what is needed, to go on and have a good season? I don't think we have. With a few hours left of the window, I have to say I'm not happy. I'm still not happy. I'm not happy because of the fact that there's certain areas of our team that needs fixing. Those areas, unless by 11 o'clock, by 12 o'clock, that we sign somebody, then it doesn't look like they're going to be fixed. So in my mind, it's obviously they don't care, our owners. And the biggest thing that I'm a little bit baffled by are two things. The first thing is all the money we've spent on our defence due to the fact that we had one of the best defences last season, and in other areas where we had the worst, we haven't bought. So I'm a little bit baffled by that, and I want to know where this 200 grand of Williams' wages has gone. I want to know why this hasn't been spent. But I'm not saying it hasn't been spent. It may very well be spent, but excuse me, give it a mark. I'll give it a 5. Excuse me.
Okay, you're giving it a 5. Jerome, Steve's outlined his grievances. What are you giving this transfer window so far this summer?
Yeah, so as Steve mentioned, you can look at it a few ways. So I'd sort of look at it as what would I rate our sales out of 10, and what would I rate our buys out of 10? So
good point.
Before the window opened, I reckon everyone probably got their pens and paper out, wrote a list of all the players they wanted to sell, and they made a list of how much money we could get for each player. Could get 15 for him, 10 for him. I think we've only got money for Willock. I don't know if we've received
and a measly 1.3 million for the loan deal for Torreira.
I remember making my list, and the figure, I had like something like maybe close to £100 million. I thought we could raise from sales.
Wow!
I promise you.
Wow!
I might have had Lacazette on there for 20 million.
Yeah.
I thought we would get good money for Nketiah. I thought we'd get money for Reece Nelson. I thought we'd get money for Torreira, Guendouzi. I thought we'd be able to raise money through sales, and we haven't. So in terms of the sales, that's a low figure. That's probably below a 5 for me. Obviously, there's a few players still in the squad that I would have liked to have seen gone. Look, your likes of Kolasinac, your likes of El Nene, who are nice, nice guys, but just not up for it. Won't be able to compete against the top teams. So
the reason why I jumped in there is because this is not the first time I've heard that though.
Yeah,
it's like we do it all the time. It's like we say because the football player is not good enough. It's like a smear on his character as a person.
We
always say that. Oh, he's a nice guy. Like you might like him. He's probably nice around the team.
You know, it is.
But he can't play football.
I just don't want to be too harsh on them. So if you say something a little bit nice about them, then it's like you're not going in too hard. So the sales, maybe 3 or 4 out of 10, perhaps. The buys. Look, we've spent money. As Steve said, have we spent money in the right areas? For me, probably not. I think the central midfield was a massive area for us. I would have rather spent, or I'd have rather bought in 2 incredible central midfielders and maybe bought in maybe one other player, and I'd have been happy, to be honest, because I think that's such an important area of the pitch. I like Odegaard. I think he's got loads of potential, and I think he'll be a good player for us. White, haven't seen too much from him, to be honest. Was a lot of money. The left back probably won't play a lot. Ramsdale, he might not play a lot either. Obviously, the new right back, it seems that we've bought today, you know, most of us haven't seen too much of him. And Lukongu's made a good first impression, but for me, we haven't. I'd have liked to have seen a centre forward as well, to be honest, because I think our 2 main ones are on the way out. Then, you know, in a couple of years, they probably both won't be there. So, yeah, it seems like I can't give the buys a high mark either, without trying to sound too down. Maybe a 5 at that, perhaps. I think we could have done a lot better. They've done business, but considering the competition we're up against, and looking at what they've done and the teams they had last season, I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I'm around a 6. I think that I like the look of Lukonga. Ben White, we've seen previously, looks like a very good player. England international now. Many clubs after him, even when he was coming out of the Championship. So I can't see too much going wrong there unless we fully Arsenal him up like we have done with a few players, it seems, that came here with good promise and then ended up being empty shell of human beings after a season with Arsenal sometimes. I just don't understand what goes on. Martin Odegaard, I really like. I think he's so underrated, underappreciated for what he does. I think he's a class act. Aaron Ramsdale, I can't really judge too much, but what I do like I like his attitude. If anyone's seen his interview on the Arsenal Player, he's a very down to earth character. Who, I mean, if you want to hear,
he's likable,
very likable. If you want to hear the right things said in an interview, and I've heard many interviews, but this cut straight to it was like, I'm here to take his jersey. I'm here. It may take a season or whatever, but I'm here to take his top. He's also said that he doesn't see the rebuild of Arsenal happening in a short term. It's a long-term project. So he's that's what we need. We need more minds like him and mindsets like around him around the squad. So I like the sound of Aaron Ramsdale. And in his debut, I thought he had a brilliant game. I thought he had a great game. Lukonga, I think, is going to be a gem. 15 million for what I've seen so far is a lot more than a 15 million pound player. So hopefully, if he carries on his progression, his development, I think we've got a really decent signing there. Tavares again, 8 million, looks like a decent cover for left back, and looks like he could. Well, I say cover with Kieron Tierney's injury record, he's more likely to be the main left back. It's not even a joke. Like it seems like that's going to be the way. So he looks like a decent enough left back, but very raw. What I completely agree with regards to. It feels like, and I think Ryan said it in the comments, it feels like we've bought some squad players and not a lot of first team players. It seems like we've bought better versions of the people that we've tried to get rid of or are getting rid of. And that's the worrying thing, because Arsenal need here and now players. Arsenal need first team players. I think we're missing another central midfielder, as both Jerome and Steve said. I think we're missing a striker. And yeah, we're going into the season with a striker who has not been on form for the last year. Another striker who's not really been on tip-top form for the last 3 years. And we can't get rid of him. So, yeah, that's the disappointing thing. Outgoings is the one thing that I'm really disappointed about. Just trying to think of the Arsenal squad, and there's so many in that team that are still there that I actually cannot believe. Sead Kolasinac is the most baffling player in the Arsenal team ever, because they're trying to terminate his contract, and he's played in 3 games this season. Baffling.
Most cap player.
Most cap player for Arsenal is the player that they were trying to terminate his contract. Baffling. Alexandre Lacazette. I don't know why he's here and he's digging his heels in. That's a problem for me. That's an attitude problem. Now, 2 years left, you might be thinking that this guy is trying to resurrect his Arsenal career, show him what he's about. With a year left and you're digging your heels in, it's purely for money. Like, it's got nothing to do with staying there and trying to fight for your place. It's for money, and I've got no respect for that whatsoever. No time for that. Hector Bellerin's a player who's been trying to get off. He's been trying to leave for the last 3 seasons. It looks like he's finally going to be going to Real Betis, which is good for him because he needs to go. Eddie Nketiah still here, baffling. Rob Holding, he's not good enough. Pablo Mari, for me, I've seen him now for a year and a bit. He did a job in that time, and I think it's time to move on. We've just bought another centre-back today, Japanese international, Tomiesu, I think his name is. And yeah, I don't want to get back to a situation where we've got 8 centre-backs and not one of them's fit for purpose. That I'll end up losing my mind. Mohamed El Neni, I mean, he does a job, but I mean, I'm sure that a Miguel Aziz or a youth team player that could come in and do a job as a 4th choice midfielder. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is still there, and from what we heard, he's had clear the air talks and he's going to be staying. Again, slightly baffling. Callum Chambers, he's got a year left on his contract. Does he really have a future at Arsenal? I don't know. Cedric Shaw's is one of 4 right backs that we've got in the team. Crazy. So, yeah, there's a lot of that didn't happen. And going on there, going through them players that I would have thought would have left by now, it might even be needed to drop to a 5. So yeah, it's seriously worrying. With regards to players in and out, who's to blame for this? Is it Stan Kroenke, Edu Gaspar, Mikel Arteta? Who should we be looking at, Jerome? Who do you think we should be looking at? Or is it all of the above?
When it comes to selling the players, I don't think you can put too much blame on Kroenke. I don't think. Even buying the players, like they've spent money, and I don't think Kroenke comes up with the list, does he?
Do you think 130 million is enough?
No, it's not enough for what Arsenal need, but they don't. But the owners don't choose. The owners don't choose to spend. They don't choose the players. That's all Arteta and Edu. If they'd spent 20 million and the owners have said, look, this is all the money you've got, then you can say, oh, the owners need to give them more money or need to allow them to spend more money. But they've spent money. That's nothing to do with whether the Kroenkes need to, shouldn't be involved anymore. That's a totally separate issue. But when it comes to choosing the players, for me, that's all. Choosing to play Kolasinac as one of your centre backs against Man City, that's not down to the owners. That's Arteta's come up with that idea. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to blame the owners on this particular part, I can't. They could have put a bit more money in, but yeah, for me, it's Arteta and Edu.
Steve, who do you think's to blame here? Getting these players in and out. Who are you looking at in this situation with regards to players that Arteta might be wanting to bring in, players that the coach wants to get rid of? Who does that come down to? Who's putting the brakes on these things?
Well, firstly, Jerome's right about getting players in, and players going out to a degree, and so Stan Kroenke's got to take a large part of the blame, because we can't, hide the fact that over the last 5, 6, 7 years, when we haven't got what's needed, and I know people keep harping on about that. We bought so and so, we bought Pepe, and we bought this player, and we bought that player. But Arsenal have been gone down in decline. We haven't. It's all about what you need, and Arsenal haven't bought what we need every single window, where other clubs have, and that's why other clubs have gone further away. But going back to your point, I always thought it was Stan Kroenke, and I was playing. It was everything for me was Stan Kroenke. Unless you give us the money, then how can we go and buy the players if you're not letting anybody have the money? I know that's why Sam Flisson's hat left, because he was told that you've got to go and look for a certain type of player for a certain type of money, and he said that I'm not doing that. I can't work like that. I can't go out there and look for average players.
Yeah.
So he went. So he in the end he said, I can't. I'm sorry. I've got to go. I can't. I come to Arsenal because you're a massive club, and I want to look for massive players. And he had a record of bringing in massive players. Yeah, in his career. And
so that's why with regards to that, Sven Mislintat's been through the rigors. He started off at a lower league club, moved his way up, went to Borussia Dortmund, went to whoever, then comes to Arsenal. And as you're saying, you don't expect to come to one of the biggest teams in the Premier League and then be told to go and find players that you essentially would have found before you went to Dortmund.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And that was another, big thing that Arsenal just seemed to didn't care, and they think, well, if you don't like it, just go. And then Edu came in. Now, as I just said to you, I've always sort of put the blame on Kroenke, but I've been told different. I've been told today during a conversation, and people who are watching tonight, please believe this. This is 100%. This ain't no silly boy games or people on Twitter deciding to write something for the sake of it. Just listen to what I've got to say. As I said, I always put the blame on Stan Kroenke, but I've seen a few things today, and the biggest problem at Arsenal, a guy who doesn't know his arse from his elbow, and that's Edu Gaspar. I've seen a few things today that's absolutely knocked me for six. That I would, I'll hold my hands up. I would have never have believed unless I see it. Now, after seeing it, I feel so sorry for Mikel Arteta. But one thing I will say, I don't want him to lose his job, Mikel Arteta. But after what I heard today and what I see today, he will not be at Arsenal much longer. He will be gone. Okay, because he can't work under what I see. Now, what it is that Edu wants to get rid of loads of players. Yeah, that's all he's worried about. He's not worried about bringing players in. All he's worried about is getting rid of players. But that's fine. We know we need to get rid of players. But the problem is, While he's not doing it, he's sitting on his arse doing absolutely nothing. And what's happening is he's leaving the agents to sort it out. So he's leaving it to the agents to find these players, the clubs, and he's not getting involved. So he's just sitting there waiting for these agents to make a deal with a player. And they can't do it all on their own. They need help. That's why he does the job what he does for Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
But Edu is just sitting on his arse at Arsenal. He's doing absolutely nothing. 1 week ago, I would have sat down with someone and argued the arse off with them that Edu was not the problem. Today, he is the problem. I found out today this guy is the problem. Arteta's got his hands tied. He can't do nothing. He is absolutely nothing. Can't do a thing. And it goes back to last week when Arteta said after a post-match game where he said, my hands are tired. There's things going on behind the scenes that I can't be in control of. And my ears pricked up and I thought, what's that about? And straight away I thought this is Kroenke not giving him money. But it's not. It's not that at all. It's just that Edu's obviously getting loads of... He's just sitting there trying to get these players out, doing nothing, collecting the bonuses of players when he gets them out. And for the fact of bringing players in, he just doesn't bother him. And when you look back over the time since he's came to the club, and listen to this is another something else I was told by the same person today, yeah? And I've always thought it, and I'm so pleased he said it. Nicolas Pepe, right? Everyone goes, we spent 72 million quid, right? It was the only thing that he got that they was involved in. The only thing. One player. Apart from that, he has done absolutely nothing. And that is the truth. And, take it from me, I'm not just brought it on here just for the sake of it because I was in Edu'S camp until today. So
no. And Steve, we wouldn't have you on here if you was coming on here just talking rubbish like this. All right? All right? Can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. Yeah. But on a serious note, another thing that I saw earlier on, which kind of ties into this a little bit. I don't know if anyone saw Ray Parlour's comments or heard Ray Parlour's comments on TalkSport, where he said he'd got a text from Mark Overmars saying he needs to come back to fix the club. More fuel that adds to the fire. Why is Mark Overmars sending Ray Parlour messages and saying he needs to come back and fix the club in exactly the same position that Edu's in? Because in the football world, you hear about these things. This won't be like a surprise for everyone around football. They know that there's obviously issues going on with Arsenal.
Yeah. You know what? Parlour wouldn't have brought that up if you didn't want that to happen.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. It's like the person who told me today, Jerome, he wouldn't have risked what he told me, and because if I wasn't the person I was, I could have gone and told everybody under the sun, and splashed his name all over the place. But
the difference is, Steve, we don't need to turn around to people, and if people don't believe what we say, they don't believe what we say. We don't then need to go and start showing people screenshots, which is the problem with some of the youth of today.
Well, see, the people watching this tonight, we've said it time and time again. We started this for you, so you don't have to have this crap that's on Twitter. Just remember these little things. We were where you are. We was getting fed up with all the rubbish and the lies and the people putting things on, making things up. Saying things like Maddison is Arsenal's priority.
Kieron even came out and said he wanted to add that Willian is not the only player to join Arsenal in recent years to find it hard to struggle with form at the Emirates, explaining there is a wider problem at the club regarding recruitment and performance. So there's a deeper problem at Arsenal, and everyone is taking swings, whether that be at Mikel Arteta, Edu Gaspar or just Arsenal Football Club in general. It is an absolute mess. And they need to fix it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, Arsenal are going to be another team that goes from giants to sitting in League One.
I mean, are we there already? I mean,
Well,
are we there now?
We're not there now because we're still in the Premier League, but we've seen teams like Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Middlesbrough. Like these are all established Premier League teams. And okay, they weren't in the realms of Arsenal. They're not a Chelsea. They're not but Newcastle were down there. Newcastle nearly won the Premier League at one point.
Yeah,
they're a massive club.
I mean, am I missing something when I said at the beginning of the show about what they're doing with William's wages? Have I got that wrong somewhere? Is there something that am I missing? The 200 grand a week wages that now William won't be earning.
Well, they probably claim they're spending that on Tokiyasu.
What 200 grand? No. What about Willock? Willock's wages. I mean,
25 mil. The 25 mil fee. Who knows?
So William. So the wages from William. What some bright spark at Arsenal has decided to do is buy another defender when we was third best defenders last season.
Yeah. What their argument will be is that we lost David Luiz, and he was a starter, so we needed to get in another starter. That could be their argument. Yep.
Anyway.
And breathe. I don't want to have to get a defibrillator around there, Steve. Jesus Christ. All right. But people...
I'm going green. It's a Hulk. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
No, look. So you've heard them comments. Edu Gaspar looks like he's making a right mess of Arsenal. Is it time to get rid of Edu Gaspar and see what the managers can do there? Is it time to bring in the likes of someone like Mark Overmars, who also has been an Arsenal player, but has worked with one of the best well-run clubs in Europe with Ajax, and especially with regards to the youth academy that Arsenal have, which is very highly regarded. Maybe we could bring some youth and maybe sort of go that realm, go that sort of direction. Who knows? But it does seem like there's big problems at Arsenal. With regards to players, we'll start off with Jerome. What else do you think Arsenal needed? And let's go to specifics. Who would you have brought in those positions?
Yeah, it's a great question, and even lots of fans struggle sometimes to come up with names. They just know that they need.
Yeah. They go default. Aouar and Basuma.
A player. I would have loved a player like Basuma. I think in the centre midfield, we needed someone that's super mobile, that's hard. I'd have loved to see someone like a Basuma. I wouldn't have liked to see Aouar come and play in midfield. I don't think he would have played in centre midfield anyway. Someone like him. Obviously, there was talk last few days that Renato Sanchez was available for a loan deal.
Yeah, injured, isn't he?
Someone with that sort of profile is what I would have liked to have seen. In terms of a striker, he would have cost a lot of money, but maybe someone like Calvert-Lewin, perhaps. I'm trying to think. It's really hard to think of specific names, because I think when we look at players like we have done previously, we look at a lot of the youth, a lot of young players coming through, and I think Arsenal have got enough of young players. I think they need players like, don't want to get too specific with ages, but sort of mid 20s, maybe sort of 24 plus, rather than like a 19 or 20, 21-year-old. That's the sort of player they need, because let's be honest, right? Saka and Smith Rowe, brilliant players. If they were in any other top team, they would be playing once in a while. They wouldn't be playing every week.
Yeah.
No chance. If Saka and Smith Rowe were in the squad with, say, like I don't know, your 98 team or the Invincible team, like they'd be on the bench probably most games, if not every game, and they'd come on every so often. They'd probably hardly ever start. Honestly, they would probably hardly ever start a game.
I agree.
And there's so much pressure on these young players. I feel sorry for them. I feel really sorry for them because they're good, but they're being asked to be relied upon every week, and it's a bit much. So yeah, in terms of signing a new player, it'd have been someone a bit older. And I think we need like physical mobile players, whether that would have been. But yeah, a centre mid and a striker would have been nice.
Steve, what position do you think Arsenal needed? And who would you have brought in if there's a specific player that you would have brought in?
Yeah, I can't argue with most of the stuff there. What Jerome said, Bissouma would have been a good buy, but I've said from right from the beginning he was never going to get bought because that means we would have had Partey and him, out from March.
Yeah.
So that was never going to happen, and but he's a good player. I was praying, I'm a fan of Xhaka, but I would have kicked him out the door for Locatelli in an instance. Because I thought he could.
Well, Steve's blood pressure's got so high that apparently it's just switched off his internet.
You know what with Bissouma?
Yeah,
I know it won't happen, but I looked at something and I'm pretty sure his last game for Mali was back in 2018. Like I don't think he really plays for them anymore. So that might. I wanted to look into that a bit more, but from what I saw, I think I've heard it previously, and I think that's the case. But I need to double check.
Yeah, we'll check on that. We'll make sure. We're doing some fact checks on that.
Yeah.
Steve, I think your sound's going a bit funny. What about
you, Kieron? Yeah, who would you have fancied?
Me, I like John McGinn of Aston Villa. I mean, it would have probably been a stretch to try and get someone like him, but I think if you offer 50 and then see where to go, 50, 60, I think it would take to get John McGinn. And for a striker, I mean, Arsenal aren't anywhere near the realms of bringing in a world-class striker, but I would have definitely liked to have got rid of a Lacazette. And I like Martin Braithwaite of Barcelona. I like his energy. He can score goals. He's got a trick in him as well. He's got good pace, and he's strong. So someone like that, I think, would have been achievable to get at Arsenal as well. One the other day that blew me away, which I was just like, do you know what? That's not a bad shout. Even if it was like not the main option, but an option, is Mikel Antonio. His pace and power is just ridiculous. And I was saying to a friend the other day, is because he came from non-league, so at that level, there would have been games week in, week out that everyone would have been like, oh no, Mikel Antonio's playing, and he would have been so confident, because I've seen strikers at that level that are so confident they do everything, they do anything. So when it's one-on-one, they don't care. They're chipping the keeper, they're taking it round the keeper. They've got that level of calmness and composure that they kind of lose a bit when the pressure's really on them when they're playing at a high level. And I think that's where Antonio's now, where he's got at that mindset where nothing's phasing him. He's composed. He's getting one-on-one. He's taking on the keeper. He's getting one-on-one. He's just slotting it in the back of the net. So I feel like mentally he's there now. He feels like he believes he should be where he is. He's not getting pushed at right wing. He's not getting pushed at right back no more from pillar to post. David Moyes' team He's a striker, and I just like what he's doing. So
I think the perception of him now is that I think teams are scared of him.
Yeah,
aren't they?
I think they are.
They're worried about him, whereas before they thought, oh, he's been a right winger, a right back, but now they're like, we've got to watch out for him.
Yeah, his touch ain't great here. His touch ain't great there. But he's worked on it. He's worked on his touch. His finishing's really good. His decision making, most of all, is what's looking really, really good. So, yeah, Braithwaite,
he's a bully,
Antonio,
isn't he?
He's a bully, and I like bullies. Arsenal get bullied by any striker. I was going through the other day. I was like, any striker that's big, strong, Arsenal get bullied by. And then I was going through the rest of them. I was thinking, actually, Arsenal defenders get bullied by every sort of striker. There's not a striker out there that Arsenal defenders don't struggle against. And I just can't work it out why. It's absolutely baffling.
I would have gone for Ivan Toney. I would have given him a shout. I would have tried and got from him. What's worrying about me with Kieron is that we don't seem to be, sort of testing the waters with anybody.
Yeah, no, we don't.
You don't seem. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, all right. We don't think we get him, but test the waters.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not.
Yeah,
you don't think you get him, but test. Just test the waters. See what happens. I mean, look, Leicester have got Patson Daka. Yeah,
good.
I would have jumped at having him.
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace looks like they're in advanced talks with Odsonne Edouard. Yeah. I mean, that blew me away. That one.
Yeah, I know. And was it 15 million or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah, something. Something ridiculous. But what worries me, Kieron, is that the fact that we're not even testing the waters, that tells me they've not even got the money.
Yeah, or someone's not doing their job.
Because if we had the money, you'd at least test the waters.
Yeah, it's something's not right. As you said, either someone ain't doing their job, or like you said, they're not testing the waters. There's so many times where you see a player going to a team, you're like, oh, do you know what we could have done with him? Could we really not have got him? Could we have got him? I don't know. You're
talking about giving the youngsters a rest.
You can't. Because you seem to give them a rest, and what happens? You've got to bring them on in the 60th minute because we're not doing anything.
I mean, on Xhaka, I said last week people laughed, and I did get a few texts, but I would have had a go at Jesse Lingard. He scores goals. He's busy. He's dangerous. But we just don't test the waters.
Well, last season when we was talks of Jorginho, the general consensus of Jorginho was that he's slow. He's not good enough. Blah blah blah. The geezer's gone on to win a Champions League and a European Championship, and not just that, he's been like the massive architect of that. He's been pulling strings. He's been one of the main men in winning those two competitions. Yet when it comes to Arsenal, these players aren't good enough. I don't know if anyone's seen Tammy Abraham hitting the ground running. He's gone to Roma as well. He's looking awesome. Yet these players are not good enough for Arsenal. It's just baffling. I don't know.
Do they not want to go to Arsenal? That's worse.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this before as well. It's Arsenal for me. Yes, they have the pull of Arsenal to a certain extent, but then that goes when we're not in Europe. We've not been in Champions League for 6 years now, and everything's just toxic and horrible. And I mean, why would you want to come to that? As a football player, I wouldn't want to come to play for Arsenal to deal with that. Look at the reception that Aaron Ramsdale got. Now I know that's a small minority of fans, because it was a small minority of fans, but you wouldn't expect that going to any club, one or two. Not the ferocity that he got it to the point where he shut off his comments. And he's big enough and ugly enough to handle that, because he laughed it off. But no player should have to deal with that when they're being signed by a club. And that is where this club seems to be at. There's a lot of toxicity in the fan base. It's just the club is slowly running out of things that's going for it. And this whole tag of but we are Arsenal is gonna wear thin, and it's not going to be around for too much longer.
I mean, that's a great shout by Ryan, what he's put in the comments there at the bottom. We should have snapped him up.
Yeah, Danny Ings. Danny Ings again.
Yeah.
But as we know, the sticking point for any of these strikers, because they're first team strikers coming into Arsenal, is Lacazette's 180 grand a week wages. Arsenal aren't adding to their team with a striker that's already there, that's not willing to leave because of his wages. And it's a problem that Arsenal will have, because right now, to get those players, to get in players that may be in and are in because we're not in Europe, you're going to have to pay extra money on wages. And if those signings don't work out, like we saw with William, not every William's going to turn around and terminate his contract. We could have quite easily had William, which most players would be doing right now, sitting on the contract of 240 grand a week, and would be happy to just go and play with the under-23s for the 2 remaining years of his contract. Now, we're going to get into more of them situations because we're dwindling lower and lower and lower every season. So to attract those other players, to stop them from going to the likes of Everton, Leicester, Tottenham, we have to pay them extra wages and promise them that in a season's time we'll be back in Europe. In 2 years' time, we're back in the Champions League. Well, it ain't happening from what I'm seeing. And it's becoming pretty tragic. All right. Before we go, we're going to go to the comment section, see what everyone's saying. My heart tells me Arsenal will surprise us with Basuma-like signing, but my head tells me it's over. What's over, Glenn? I've not seen you in a while, mate. Is it the season that's over, or just Arsenal's transfer business that's over?
Well, it's over.
Oh shit! It's over. It's over.
Just is over.
Don't forget, Lacazette will go on a free next summer. It looks like. No, look. Will I and AFC? We know that. We've been speaking about this since last season. Because Arsenal tried to get him off the books last season. Juventus were interested, other clubs were interested, but they weren't going to pay the 40 million that Arsenal wanted. Never going to happen. They weren't going to pay the 30 million that Arsenal wanted. Never going to happen. And in regards to wages, them clubs weren't going to pay Lacazette the wages that he wanted. So it weren't happening. A year on, the same situation. A year on, Lacazette's inconsistent with his goal scoring. And when you've got a centre forward, you want him to score goals. No matter how hard he works, no matter how much he tracks back. The transfer window, thanks, Glenn, it's over. No, you're right. It's over. The best chance Arsenal have got right now of doing something to appease the fans is getting all the players that they were trying to get off last season off their books in this summer. But yeah, Steve's not even flinched in the last 20 minutes, so I'm not sure anything's happening right now.
Can I ask, like, both of you, what does that tell you, the fact that Arsenal begging Maitland-Niles to stay?
I don't know where it comes from, though. I don't know where it comes from.
Niles, as much as we like him, he's a nice fella or whatever. What does that tell you? It tells me one thing.
I'm confused. That's what I'm confused because I don't understand it. Like, is it because he's English? Is it because they feel that they're going to get rid of a different right back and he's going to get an opportunity to be the right back? Is Cedric going to quickly turn around and end up with Galatasaray and Bellerin go as well? So it leaves us with Chambers and Maitland-Niles as the right backs. I don't know because we've still got 3 right backs right now, or an excess of too many centre backs. Either or, we've got a lot of them. Who is not fancying at the moment? Mari? Because I see Mari on the bench the other day when Kolasinac was sitting there at centre-back, in the left-back centre-back spot as well. Baffling. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of something that's going on right now in this club, and none of it makes sense.
Maitland-Niles is so strange.
None of it makes sense.
Maitland-Niles, he's not going to play this season. Where's he going to play?
Clear the air talks and reassured that he is going to be playing this season. Those were the words that came out not 2 hours before this pod went up. So yeah. What was said? We understand why you're frustrated. We understand why you want to leave for Everton because you've played 4 games in 2 seasons. You got into the England squad off of the back of playing left back last season, and since then you haven't played for us, except for a couple of roles 6 months in between each other, which ain't fair on the kid. Because then he gets judged on the next performance, and he's swinging his leg left, right, and centre. Couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo with some of the passes that I saw in that game. But it's understandable because he hadn't played in about 15 games. The poor geezer. So I can't blame him.
Just let him go.
Just let him go.
Yeah.
Just let him go. Just let him go. Now I don't know whether they're trying to keep him because of the quota, but none of it makes sense.
I think they want to keep him because I think they're embarrassed that they don't want to let him go on a loan deal, and then another one that will just see his contract
go down to 1 year.
Go out. But that's going to happen anyway. So you might as well just get rid now.
You can always sign him up for another year, like they did with Nelson.
Yeah, they've done that.
Are they going to get any money? Are they going to get any money for Nelson though? I don't think they will.
So what 1.5 million. What they're hoping for, is that he has an absolutely outstanding season at finals, but then we're left in a situation where it's do we keep him or do we sell him? We've been there so many times. We've been there.
We've been there with Oppenheimer. When
there's no point.
In Germany, he came back and he was toilet.
No, not being funny, yeah, but okay. So let's go with the Hoffenheim, yeah? Hoffenheim, he does well, rips it up. Let's not forget that Reece Nelson, halfway through that season, did stop getting played. Not just because of injury, because of his attitude. Apparently, Billy Big Nuts. And they weren't going to have that in Germany. So he weren't playing. So it weren't just an injury that stopped Reece Nelson from playing. It was his own mindset that once he was doing well, because this kid was the top goal scorer and assist maker in Europe after the first 10, 15 games. He was outstanding. However, obviously the hype went to his head and he got and he believed his own hype, and they didn't like it. He didn't like his attitude. So he got dropped. And then when he came back in, he got injured and he had a bad injury. But let's not forget that we can all talk about comparisons to he was at the same level as Jadon Sancho at the time, but Jadon Sancho's had 4 outstanding seasons since then.
In the same ballpark.
You can't just pick up from there and then well, he was there once. Doesn't matter. You've got to have consistent seasons of playing and development to get to where Jadon Sancho got.
Also, I'm sure you heard Wilshire's interview the other day. That he gave,
prime example,
and he said that when he came into the team, he had all these quality players around him. These youngsters, they don't have that.
No,
they're surrounded by each other. They're surrounded by each other, aren't they? And it's not the right environment for them.
Yep. I was only saying the other day that you've just about got some of our forward players that can look up to another player as a player-wise. Not as a personality, not as a mindset, which is what they need. None of them have got someone in the squad where they can look up to a player and think, do you know what? He's got the right mentality. He's got the right mindset. Robin Van Persie used to sat in a bath and watched Dennis Bergkamp for 2 hours after training, continued training. That was after everyone had left, after the youth had left, and he was kicking a ball on his own. 2 hours after training. That's someone to look up to. Thierry Henry was one of the best youth players, one of the best potentials in Europe with David Trezeguet at Monaco, Champions League, scoring goals, smashing it. Yeah, went out to Italy, didn't work, came back. Mindset, players that you can look up to.
Yeah,
these players haven't done anything.
You see these, as you said, these kids are looking for people to look up to, and the players who we would think that they would look up to are people like Lacazette. It'll be people like Aubameyang. It'll be people like David Luiz when he was there. But they're always up. All they're doing is arsing about on Instagram and pissing around in training. They're not players you can look to. I mean, the last players that you could really look up to are the players from a few years ago. Players like Theo Walcott, players like Aaron Ramsey, Koscielny, They wouldn't be having this now. Telling you, they'd have them rights sorted out. You know, they wouldn't have none of this Maitland-Niles rubbish going on, and Reece Nelson stuff that's gone on in the past. But in a way, is it their fault? Like you said, them type of players are not there anymore. I'd bring Ramsey back just due to the fact to sort the rest of these kids out.
Yeah, I don't think Ramsey could do anything with this team. It's run by kids and people with multicoloured Lamborghinis, which is all you need when you've got looking for captain material. Is gold Lamborghinis.
But these kids need to come into a team. Forget like people that you look up to. They need to come into like a good settled team. None of us can predict like the next 11 that Arteta's going to pick. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Is it him? I can't blame him though. I don't know what. I mean, seriously, I don't know what team to pick. I mean, we've all been in football long enough that we think we could pick Arsenal's next match, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
I was sitting here 10 minutes ago thinking, "Oh, this will be our best 11," and I got stuck by about 5 players.
You got stuck on the number 2.
Yeah,
couldn't get past the right back.
I can't get past the goalie.
I was going to ask you and Jerome the question, but I swerved it. I thought, nah, because they might ask me what's mine is.
Yeah. Plus, we've got 4 minutes, and that's another pod in itself. Trust me. It's it's getting like that. It's getting like that. A pound shop Sancho. Cheers for that, Ryan. He's just called Reece Nelson a pound shop Sancho. Well, you never know. Reece Nelson is going to Feyenoord, and he may hit the ground running. He may like set the Erin division on fire. We've got James Rowe giving he's going to keep an eye on him, loan watch. So let's see what he says. And he says his first few words were, first of all, Reece Nelson's attitude will be judged, and his fitness, because if he's not fit, he won't be going anywhere near this Feyenoord squad. And that's what you need. That is exactly what you need. You need a team that's not going to be overawed by the fact that they brought in an Arsenal prospect that's meant to be decent. They would look at him and say, have you got the minerals upstairs, and can you run a full 90 minutes? And if you can't, you ain't playing. Glenn, the team is unbalanced and lacks stability. The signings we made will help the stability, but we're losing a handful of players on a free next season, and Abba and a few more a year later. Look, I don't really care about the players that we're losing on a free because they're not good enough to sign up on extra additional contracts. There's not one player. In fact, if I could bring next year round now to get those players out of the squad, I would, because they're not going. They're not going. None of those players that are here on a free should be here now. And unless Callum Chambers turns it around by the end of the season, I wouldn't even contemplate signing him up on a new deal. Lacazette gone. See you later. Just thank you, but yeah, bye. And I think that's what Arsenal needs to do. They need to be a bit more ruthless and just get rid of these players because they've not done anything for you over the last few years. So just get rid. Just get rid.
Just before we do go, I think we need to give a big round of applause to Willian on what he's done.
Willian.
Quality. If players should, in the Premiership and all over Europe in whatever league, people sort of every now and then, look to his example. It wouldn't be things would be a lot more better and clubs would be in a lot better situation. So well done. Well
done, William. Yeah, you got a lot of stick. I mean, let's be honest. Football wise at Arsenal, it was toilet. All right, it was down the drain, down the plug hole. I tried my best. I'm the guy that was trying to hold on tight that Freddie Jeffers was still going to do something decent at Arsenal. Yeah, I tried my best with you, William. Yeah, I was having arguments with people. Give him a chance. He's not been that bad. Yeah, but you weren't great. But you've redeemed yourself now. All right. So I don't want to hear no boos, no slandering of Willian's name. Yeah. No huffing and puffing when Williams turns up on something. Yeah. Well done, William. All right.
Yes, Jerome.
Kia Jurabkin.
No, he was bad.
Stay away from Arsenal. We don't want none of your players. None of your players, mate. I'm not even sure there's any decent Kia Jurabkin players left about. It's not 2011, mate. It's 2021. So there's new super agents on the block, and we don't want none of them either. We're not interested in their players because that's not Arsenal. All right, let's get some humble players at Arsenal. All right, people. Thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank Steve K for joining us tonight and giving us that exclusive information on Edu Gaspar currently doing nothing at Arsenal. And as someone said that he was on holiday during a transfer window. That's laughable. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Yep. Cheers, Kieron. Yeah, enjoyed tonight, sort of.
You can never enjoy an Arsenal pod when there's ranting and raving about. So yeah, we're just
expecting to come on tonight and like saying, "Yeah, we bought him and oh, what a great signing," and like, but no. Well, I say no. We've still got an hour and a half to go. You never know.
Still got an hour and a half to go. So if we do get any news, we will. I'm sure we'd jump on a live. Don't worry about that, people. Glenn, that's got to be horrible. Try and build chemistry with the team. All right. Hey, Glenn's laughing at us. Glenn Cook's back again. Thank you, guys. You work harder than our own director of football. Glenn, thank you very much for them kind words.
Cheers, Glenn.
And of course, and I'm sure this is not going to be the last time we see that beautiful bald head, Jerome, neglecting us.
Right. I'll be shining it. I'll be shining out for the next episode.
All right, thanks very much for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah,
you get to see the outro,
boys.
mate. You get to see the outro. All right, people.
It's like school, though, isn't it? It's like he comes back, from holiday, and then he's got this national break, so he's got some time off of him.
Yeah, I know. It's a joke. It's a joke. No, we're dragging him into one of them England pods as well, so don't worry about it. He's not getting away with it. All right, people. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.